A serious stumble and a big-time fumble. Let's see how the NDP picks up the ball after a bumpy start in battleground BC. There's a lot of buzz around their candidate who quit after some racially charged comments she made about Aboriginals surfaced online. Daleen Van Ryswyk said, and I quote, "We've been paying out of our nose for generations for something that isn't our doing. If their ancestors sold out too cheap, it's not my fault, and I shouldn't have to be paying for any mistake or whatever you want to call it from my earned money." It's quite the fitting bombshell for Battleground BC. Will it change the game at all? Let's bring in Paige MacPherson, who is covering Battleground BC for us from Vancouver. So Paige, first tell us what happened when this candidate actually resigned.
Sure, Anita. Well, basically, the BC Liberals didn't waste any time before dropping this scandal. Just hours after the writ dropped here in BC, they had this comment from an NDP candidate, former NDP candidate now. These were back in 2009. She made these comments on a blog, but the Liberals unearthed this. And basically what happened was the candidate resigned on her own, and Adrian Dix accepted the resignation. And then, of course, the Liberals jumped right on the NDP saying, well, why didn't you fire her? You should have demanded a resignation. You shouldn't have let her do it herself. So really not letting the NDP off too easily for this scandal from these comments. And Anita, you have to watch this. Things got even more dramatic when the media tried to confront Ms. Van Ryswyk.
We have no comment. Please leave the premises.
Pardon
we
me?
have no comment at all. Please
You have
leave.
no comment at all?
Not at this point.
Hi,
no.
Daleen. I'm Kent. I'm work with CTV.
No.
Can you?
No.
Are you going to shake my hand? You're not going to shake my hand?
Come on.
Ma'am, don't touch the camera.
Come on out. Come on out.
So
I want to refer you to provincial office. They're handling all media.
So Daleen,
on this
I wanted to ask you: Are you the person who posted those comments, and do you have anything to say about it?
She has nothing to say at this time. Thank you.
Ms. Van Ryswyk, you're going to be silent on this? You have nothing to say?
Oh wow,
So,
he almost got caught in the door there.
Oh yeah, I know. Maybe a lesson in what not to do
Absolutely.
for the candidate.
All right, listen, tell me. So obviously she's not speaking about this now. A lot of questions are being raised about whether she should have even resigned. We'll pick that up a bit later in the show. But tell me, is this at all going to change the landscape insofar as the NDP is concerned? We just launched, the election was just, the race was launched yesterday.
Right, well, that's exactly right. I mean, this is really kind of setting the NDP off, perhaps on the wrong note. However, a poll came out yesterday as well, around the same time as this scandal broke, putting the NDP 17 points ahead. So that's a really significant lead. But of course, this is a poll taken 11 days ago now. So, I mean, this is before the scandal broke that these numbers were put forth. So, you know, a 17-point lead, that's a pretty commanding lead, though. Like, that's a lot of traction that the Liberals are going to have to gain, but of course they are doing their best to be on the offensive and set the tone for the campaign, and I'm sure the NDP, you know, I'm sure they're not happy about this. However, as you mentioned, you know, not everybody might find these comments to be controversial, but you have to put it in the context that this is a very left-leaning party. So the NDP is a nationally streamlined party. They're the only party in Canada that it's the same federally and provincially. So all of our viewers will know what the NDP is like. This is a left-of-center party. They definitely put themselves out as people who champion Native rights and put those issues first. So for somebody to make these comments, you know, that's a member of the NDP and a candidate for the NDP, that's got to be really controversial for them and for their voters, because even though, you know, maybe some of our viewers think, well, maybe she was just speaking her mind and this is a free speech issue. So that just puts it in a little bit of a national context, certainly setting an interesting tone for the campaign that maybe people were not expecting here in BC.
Absolutely. Battleground BC, that it sure is. Okay, thanks, Paige.
Thank you.
And we'll check in with Paige a bit later. But meantime, we want to bring you into this as well. Take part in our daily web poll. A BC NDP candidate resigns over a controversial blog post in which she blasted compensation paid to First Nations, saying, if their ancestors sold out too cheap, it's not my fault. Was she right to resign? Let us know what you think at sunnewsnetwork.ca.